Welcome to Power in Words, a space we have built together to find inspiration, gather strength, and share the kind of positive energy that sustains us through our deepest challenges. If you found your way here today, perhaps you are seeking a moment of quiet understanding, a place where the weight you carry is recognized and honored. Life demands so much from us, and we often walk through our days wearing masks of competence, hiding the exhaustion that lingers just beneath the surface. This channel is an invitation to set that mask aside. We are not here to offer empty platitudes or pretend that the journey is always easy. Instead, we are here to walk alongside you, offering words that heal, perspectives that empower, and a gentle reminder that you are never walking this path alone. Today, we are exploring a profound truth that speaks to the heart of the human experience, a reality that transforms our deepest pain into our most enduring strength. It is a concept beautifully captured by the writer C.S. Lewis, who observed that hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. We will explore what it means to feel ordinary, what it means to endure the crushing weight of difficulty, and how the crucible of struggle reshapes the landscape of our lives into something entirely unexpected and deeply magnificent. There is a quiet, pervasive belief that many of us hold deep within our minds, a lingering suspicion that we are profoundly ordinary. We look at the world around us with its seemingly endless parade of exceptional individuals achieving impossible things, and we look back at our own lives with a sense of quiet inadequacy. We manage the intricate threads of our relationships and quietly attempt to capture small moments of joy between heavy obligations. It feels like a small life, a narrative devoid of grand sweeping arcs. We convince ourselves that destiny is a concept reserved for other people, for those born with unparalleled talents. We settle into the rhythm of the mundane, believing the boundaries of our potential have already been firmly drawn. Yet it is precisely within this landscape of the ordinary that the seeds of profound transformation are quietly sown. The universe has a strange and uncompromising way of interrupting our comfortable narratives. Just when we feel we have mapped out the quiet trajectory of our days, hardship arrives. It rarely knocks politely. It breaks down the door. It comes in the form of a sudden loss, a devastating diagnosis, the collapse of a career, or the betrayal of someone we trusted implicitly. It comes as a silent anxiety that slowly steals the color from our world, or a period of deep loneliness that leaves us feeling utterly disconnected. When hardship strikes, it feels like a terrible mistake, a cruel deviation from the life we were supposed to be living. We ask ourselves what we did to deserve this suffering, searching frantically for a reason, a cause, some logical explanation for the sudden chaos that has engulfed our reality. The truth is that hardship does not require an invitation, nor does it seek our permission. It simply arrives, and in its wake, it strips away everything we thought we knew about ourselves and our place in the world. In the immediate aftermath of a significant setback, the psychological landscape is often one of pure survival. We are thrust into a disorienting wilderness where the familiar landmarks of our identity have been completely obliterated. This is where the profound isolation of suffering truly takes hold. Even if we are surrounded by well-meaning friends and supportive family members, the internal experience of pain remains entirely solitary. Nobody else can inhabit our specific grief or trace the labyrinth of our unique anxieties. We look at people continuing with their normal routines, and we feel separated from them by an invisible wall of glass. We are in the same physical space, yet we inhabit entirely different emotional dimensions. This isolation often breeds a corrosive self-doubt. We begin to question our competence, our inherent worth, and our ability to walk into the unknown future. That quiet, lingering fear of being a fraud, a feeling that haunts so many of us even in our proudest moments, grows deafening during times of failure. It is easy to convince ourselves that our current state of ruin is the truest reflection of our character, that the struggle has finally unmasked the flawed person we always feared we were. Mistakes replay on an agonizing loop as we search for the exact moment we took the wrong turn. And in the quietest hours, we often fall into the torturous trap of self-comparison, looking at the curated lives of others and concluding that everyone else has figured out the secret to existence. The weight of this psychological burden cannot be overstated. It drains our physical energy, clouds our cognitive function, and dims our motivation. There are days when simply getting out of bed feels like an insurmountable achievement, if a monumental act of will that leaves us entirely depleted before the morning is over. We must acknowledge this reality without judgment. We must recognize that feeling broken by heavy things does not mean we are fundamentally defective. It simply means we are human, and human beings are profoundly vulnerable to the harsh weather of existence. Yet, if we can find the courage to sit with our pain rather than frantically trying to escape it or numb it away with distractions, a subtle but profound shift begins to occur beneath the surface. It is a process that is entirely invisible to the outside world, a quiet alchemy of the soul. Hardship acts as a ruthless editor of our lives. It burns away the superficial layers, the trivial concerns, alongside the false identities we have spent years carefully constructing. When you are fighting for your emotional survival, you no longer have the luxury of pretending to be someone you are not. You no longer have the energy to maintain the masks of invulnerability or absolute competence. The fire of adversity strips away the superficial layers we once thought were so important. It is a terrifying process of being laid bare, but within that extreme vulnerability, we are forced to confront the unvarnished core of who we are. And from there, the hard work of genuine psychological rebuilding can begin. In this space of vulnerability, we discover resources we never knew we possessed. We find that the human spirit has an astonishing capacity for elasticity, realizing we can endure far more than we ever thought possible. The psychologist Viktor Frankl, who survived the darkest depths of human cruelty in the concentration camps of the 20th century, observed that when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. This is the profound mechanism by which hardship begins to rewrite our destiny. It forces us into a state of deep psychological adaptation. We are compelled to cultivate a level of emotional intelligence and empathy that is simply inaccessible to those who have never walked through the fire. Our own suffering becomes the lens through which we can finally understand the suffering of others. The loneliness we endured makes us fiercely protective of connection, while the failures we survived provide the practical wisdom required to handle unpredictable future storms. We do not just recover from hardship, we are actively forged by it. We are reshaped, tempered, and refined into individuals capable of carrying heavier loads and illuminating darker spaces. This brings us back to the heart of the truth we are exploring today. Hardships prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny because they fundamentally alter the trajectory of our psychological development. An extraordinary destiny is rarely about achieving global fame or accumulating massive wealth. These are the superficial metrics of success dictated by a confused culture. A truly extraordinary destiny is something far more profound. It is the capacity to live a life of deep meaning, enduring inner strength, coupled with a fierce, radical compassion. It is the ability to stand entirely grounded in the truth of who you are, unswayed by the opinions of others, and unbroken by the inevitable storms of life. It is the power to look at a broken world and offer healing, precisely because you have intimately known what it means to be broken yourself. When you emerge from the crucible of your struggles, you are no longer the ordinary person who walked into it. You have been initiated into a deeper understanding of the human condition. You carry within you the quiet, unassailable confidence of someone who has faced their deepest fears and survived. You no longer fear failure in the same way, because you know intimately that failure is not fatal. You no longer fear rejection because you have learned how to anchor your worth internally, independent of external validation. This newfound internal architecture allows you to take risks others shy away from and to make choices based on deep alignment with your core values rather than fear. The writer Maya Angelou once reflected on this transformative power, noting that you may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. By refusing to be reduced, you actively expand the dimensions of your life. The trauma that threatened to destroy you becomes the very foundation upon which you build your ultimate purpose. The seemingly ordinary elements of your life, your daily routines, your relationships, your work, are infused with a new gravity and a profound sense of intention. You begin to understand that your destiny was never out there waiting to be discovered. It was being forged right here in the messy, painful, beautiful reality of your everyday existence, molded by every tear, every setback, and every impossible victory. Rebuilding a life after it has been fractured by hardship is not a cinematic montage that resolves itself in a few fleeting moments. It is a slow, deliberate, and often unglamorous daily practice. It requires a profound commitment to self-compassion, a quality that is frequently misunderstood as mere self-indulgence or weakness. True self-compassion is a fierce and resilient practice. It means looking at your own exhaustion and offering yourself the same grace you would instinctively offer a beloved friend. It means recognizing that healing is rarely linear. There will be days when you feel incredibly strong, standing tall in your renewed perspective, and days when the ghost of past struggles returns to pull you back. When those darker days inevitably arrive, the work is not to punish yourself for regressing, but to gently hold your own hand through the familiar darkness. You must learn to silence the harsh internal critic that demands immediate perfection, cultivating instead an inner voice that is patient and supportive. You begin to celebrate microscopic victories that no one else can see. Sometimes an extraordinary destiny begins with the simple courage to get out of bed and breathe in the morning air despite the heavy weight on your chest. It begins with the quiet decision to try again tomorrow. Over time, these small acts of endurance accumulate, weaving together to form a safety net of resilience that catches you when you stumble. As you continue this daily practice, you will notice a subtle transformation in how you relate to the world around you. You become less reactive to the minor frustrations of daily life. The small inconveniences that used to derail your mood are now viewed in their proper perspective, dwarfed by the massive mountains you have already climbed. You develop a deep, anchoring sense of gratitude. This is not the toxic positivity that forces a smile over genuine pain, but rather a profound appreciation for the simple privilege of existing. You learn to savor the quiet moments of peace, recognizing them not as givens, but as fragile, precious gifts. This shift toward deep gratitude and mindful presence is the hallmark of a spirit that has been tested and has chosen to remain open to the world. It is the quiet manifestation of your destiny taking root. By choosing to heal, you break the cycles of bitterness and resentment that trap so many people in their past. You become a living testament to the human capacity for renewal, quietly inspiring everyone who crosses your path. As we draw our time together to a close, take a moment to acknowledge the sheer magnitude of what you have survived to be here right now. You are still here, standing despite the challenges that threatened to break you. Even when the dark nights felt truly endless, you found a way to endure until the morning. You are not the person you were before the fire, and that is not a tragedy. It is the quiet, profound evidence of your resilience. The pain that felt so meaningless while you were enduring it was actually the chisel sculpting the magnificent architecture of your character. You are no longer an ordinary person moving through a predictable reality. You are a warrior of the human spirit, equipped with profound empathy, an unbreakable spirit, and the quiet wisdom needed to change the atmosphere of any room you enter. You have been prepared for something beautiful, significant, and entirely your own. Your destiny is not something you find, it is something you become. Your scars are the very blueprint of your extraordinary power. If this message brought you comfort today, please like this video, share it with someone who might need these words, and subscribe to Power in Words so we can continue this beautiful journey of growth together.